We interrupt Mayor de Blasio's press conference to go to a briefing with Governor Kathy Hochul, who's expected to make a major announcement. Let's listen in.
By the all-star team that represents us first in government, in labor, and of course at the Port Authority. So first, I want to acknowledge Rick Cotton. I had a chance to say some words about him at the 100th anniversary of the Port Authority. The 100th anniversary is coming down in the last 2 weeks here, so if you haven't celebrated, come on, keep it going. It's going to be another 100 years. And Rick is the embodiment of the phrase that leadership matters. And what he has done on behalf of New York has been visionary. He gets the job done without a lot of drama, and we work very, very closely together, and I'm so proud that he is the executive director of the Port Authority. Also, Kevin O'Toole, our friend across the water from New Jersey, another individual who's so committed to just getting the work done, making sure that we do the right thing between our two states, and I want to thank him as the chairman of the board, Kevin O'Toole. And Gerard Bushell, executive director of Terminal 1. Got a lot on your plate. We are very confident in your abilities. I had a chance to work with you in the past administration. I look forward to continuing that relationship. Also, our elected leaders. I've had a chance to work with Congressman Greg Meeks since a decade ago when I landed as one of your colleagues in Congress, and you continue to just make sure that your constituents are so well represented on projects like these, bringing their concerns to the table, working with us, getting it done for the people. And I want to applaud your incredible leadership here, but also for our nation. And Donovan Richards, someone who's become a great friend of mine, I call him BP affectionately, but our Queensboro president. He is everywhere. I don't know that I've ever been to a church without him in there preaching as well. And I just did my preaching up in Harlem yesterday before I went up to Buffalo to deal with the storm. So, but I see you everywhere. You are out there, a man of the people. So thank you, Donovan Richards. And representing the thousands of hard-working men and women of labor, Gary LaBarbera, president of the Building Construction Trades of Greater New York. I could not think of a greater partner, someone who just wears the needs of the people that he represents on his sleeve. Every time you see him, he's saying, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And I don't know that we'd have the scale of the projects with the project labor agreements and all the issues that relate to training our next generation of workers, so important, diversifying that workforce. Gary and I have had many conversations about the desire to see more people of color, more women on the work sites, and he understands that and is doing everything. So I just want to say this is a team of individuals that is unsurpassed in our nation in terms of the people who get things done. I also want to thank, I got a couple of announcements here today, and we plan, with an announcement here today, to transform JFK into, I'm told to say, one of the top airports in the world. I don't know why I can't say the best airport in the world. And we are going to be building a state-of-the-art Terminal 1. And this is a very big deal. And how does this happen? When I first landed in this job, is how I'll say, I landed in this job at the end of August. I wanted to see a whole scope of all the projects that have been talked about for years, but have been pent up or delayed or sidetracked for whatever reasons. Some may be set aside because of the pandemic. Others times it was funding. Others, there's thought that we can only do so much at a time. And I said, you know what, just give me the one that's really bold. Let's take a look at what's out there that'll send a statement that this administration knows no boundaries in terms of its capacity to dream big, be ambitious, but also we have this unique moment in history when that ambition is met by the ability to have funding sources. And I thank our leaders in Congress and in the White House with President Joe Biden and our leadership with Chuck Schumer, how great it is to have Chuck Schumer, the majority leader of the entire Senate, our own member of the Senate, as well as the leadership that we have, Greg Meeks and so many others who work on these projects. This is where a lot of the credit goes because they are believing in infrastructure the way we always have here in New York. They know that this is the catalyst. This is our opportunity to help lift people out of this pandemic and give them a chance to go to a job that they never even thought of themselves in. They may have been losing their job because it's never going to come back because of automation or the pandemic, whatever reason. They just never viewed themselves as part of building this great city and this great region. And now I want those opportunities, so we have met the moment, and the moment is now. And we need to continue focusing on our airports. And I want to talk about a little bit about how fact that this is long overdue. And I love the airports. I mean, I have spent more time in the airports than anybody other than someone who's got a Port Authority badge, right? And I saw them, particularly over the last 7 years, flying from, I was here literally every single week, multiple times back and forth around the state. So I think I know every single person, and I thank everyone, from those wiping the counters in the restrooms, and those who are serving people at the restaurants, and those who are continuing to, line us up in some fashion to get board a plane. These are the people who have been there even before the pandemic, but let me tell you, my friends, during the pandemic, they showed up every single day when everybody else was staying home. They were there on their jobs. And the fact that we were able to continue doing construction and projects, great fear was permeating throughout our society, throughout our community. It was real. People were losing their lives, and these brave heroes kept showing up. So to them, I'm forever grateful for what they've done. And also, what this city deserves after this pandemic, brought to our knees, hit so hard. This is our moment to truly shine. And this is, as I said, the stars have aligned for us to conduct ourselves in a way that the rest of the world will say, how do they do that during a pandemic? How do they do it in the aftermath, which I hope will be very soon. And I look to the leaders and the examples of what happened during the last pandemic, 100 years ago, around the time the Port Authority was just born. And yes, it was paralyzing. We lost thousands of New Yorkers. It was very hard on the economy, very similar to what we're going through now. But afterward, people decided to build. And we had the roaring 20s after that last pandemic. And that was a time of great optimism and confidence, as long as you stop at 1929 was not a good year. So we're going to go all the way up to then, skip over 29 and head into the next one. So I just want to say what we're announcing here today is something that is hopefully jaw-dropping for people. I want them to know that this is just the beginning. I'll be speaking much more in my State of the State address, literally in a matter of weeks, about our bold vision to bring back this state after the pandemic. Again, number one, focusing on the health of the people, but also the health of the economy, and making sure that we don't slide any further, that we go back to where we were and then exceed that by tenfold. So today I'm proud to announce a $9.6 billion public-private investment that'll transform Terminal 1 into a state-of-the-art facility. It'll be 2.4 million square feet. It's hard to imagine how large that is, but it's going to be built on the current footprint of Terminal 1, Terminal 2, and Terminal 3. That's big. That is a large space. And it'll have 23 new international gates. We are so interconnected with the rest of the globe. We want people to come from all over to find themselves right at the doorstep of New York, so they find the opportunity to go here, visit New York, visit our friends in New Jersey, see upstate New York, and continue their journey across this nation. But come here first, and we have 23 new international gates. It's going to be extraordinary. We plan to be able to handle over 20 million customers a year. That's incredible as well. So whether they arrived here in coach, when they arrive and open the doors and come into our terminal, it'll be a first-class experience, premium first-class experience is what I'm predicting. So what we're going to have is Phase A is going to be 14 gates after we start construction in 2022. Can I repeat that? Did you hear that? It's almost 2022. We are starting construction in 2022. 14 gates in second quarter of 2026. We'll have 5 more gates by 2028 and 4 gates by 2032. And I'm just going to say that sounds really far off, so maybe we can talk about this as well. I want to live to see the rest of these gates, so I'm not getting any younger. So maybe we can talk about those last few gates going a little faster. But when it is done, it'll be an experience that is worthy of the name New York, and worthy of the name John F. Kennedy. And as John Kennedy once said, Every accomplishment starts with the simple decision to try. We've done that. We are more than trying. We're going to get it done. And I thank everyone who's part of reimagining New York State as a whole, our transportation hubs, our infrastructure opportunities. I am so proud to be able to help lead this state into a whole new era, and it starts with announcements like these, and we're going to continue to unlock New York State's full potential and give everyone, number one, that they can do a good job and a world-class experience, and make us all so proud to be New Yorkers again. So thank you, my friends. And with that, I'd like to bring up Rick Cotton, who will go into far more details than I did. And if you got really tough questions, I recommend you save them for Rick.
Good morning, and thanks to everyone for being here. This is a very exciting day for the Port Authority, and I've taken careful notes, and we're going to work on those last few gates, Governor. So I'd also like to thank all of the elected officials in the room, including the chairs of our JFK Advisory Council, Congressman Greg Meeks and Borough President Donovan Richards, as well as all members of the Advisory Council, and I'll have some more to say about that in a minute. I'd also like to thank our partners at Carlisle, at JLC Infrastructure, and Ulico, who are our partners in the Terminal 1 project that we are announcing today. And I'd also like to say thank you, and it's very important, to the entire Port Authority Board for your support and partnership throughout this process. I'd like to particularly acknowledge Vice Chairman Jeff Linford and Commissioners Lisa Eve, Daniel Horwitz, and Robert Menendez, who are with us here today. Thank you for coming. I also want to acknowledge Arthur Mullins from the Terminal 1 Group, along with Ryan Marzullo and our other partners at Delta Airlines, who are also here with us today. And lastly, you have to humor me here, I'd like to single out the team at the Port Authority, and the governor made reference to this, that has worked endlessly over many, many years to move this JFK Terminal 1 project forward. I wish I could name everyone who played a key role, but that would take too long. I just want to call out and say thank you to Derek Utter, to Huntley Lawrence, to Libby McCarthy, Michael Farbiarge, Amy Fisher, Jim Heitman, Susan Warner-Dooley, and Anna Carvalagino. Your efforts have been nothing short of extraordinary, and the region will be better for it. Today's announcement really is a historic one, and it is, as the governor said, a vote of confidence in JFK Airport. It is a vote of confidence in the recovery of air traffic in a post-pandemic world, and it is an enormous vote of confidence in the future vitality of New York and New Jersey, the entire region, thanks to the tireless efforts of Governor Hochul and Governor Murphy. We are building a new 23-gate international terminal anchoring the south side of JFK Airport. It will be built in phases. The agreement which we have reached with a consortium of 3 private financial partners, which is subject to Port Authority board approval at the board's meeting on Thursday of this week. It will be a new best-in-class terminal. It will live up to making and contributing to JFK being not just one of, but the best airport on the globe. And it will be 134 acres devoted to this terminal project if you include the expanded roadways, frontage, and parking. And it will entail $9.5 billion in private investment. Every penny that goes into the construction of the terminal itself will come from the private investors. $7.2 billion in design and construction costs, $2.3 billion in financing and other costs. This is the 4th project we have announced, and this is the final piece in our plan for the total transformation of JFK Airport. Our partners, the Carlisle Group, Majority owner, large, diversified global asset management firm. Johnson Loop Capital Infrastructure, 30% ownership share, and it is a 100% minority-owned and controlled investment firm and part of our diversity commitment. And I'd like to call out the CEO of Johnson Loop Capital Infrastructure, Jim Reynolds, who was an instrumental voice in negotiating and bringing this discussion to a successful conclusion. And finally, Ulico, the largest labor-owned insurance and investment company in the country. Now, just to provide some context in terms of how this Terminal 1 project fits into the larger JFK footprint. On the screen is a map with an overview of the various terminals at the airport as they exist today. The blue shaded area within the yellow line covering Terminal 1, Terminal 2, and the vacant lot that used to be Terminal 3 is going to be the footprint of the entire and 250% larger Terminal 1. Now, the Terminal 1 project will be a fitting complement on the south side of the airport to the new Terminal 6 project on the north that we announced and that the board approved in August. It will have a magnificent arrivals and departures hall. We plan to open the first phase with nearly 2/3 of the gates, but also including the arrivals, departures, roadway, and other improvements in 2026. The terminal itself will have 2.4 million square feet of terminal space, 250% larger than the existing Terminal 1. And there will be best-in-class technology across the airport, at check-in, at security lines, every place that we can. It will have a dramatically simplified airport roadway and infrastructure to support it. It will have new frontages, which will make the experience of arriving and departing from the terminal vastly improved over what exists today. But the new terminal will not just be a major upgrade in terms of operating capabilities. It will offer a world-class customer experience. Every place in the terminal, there will be huge amounts of natural light and high ceilings. It will be sustainable in every way with a wide variety of green features, including we're targeting LEED Gold certification, all-electric ground service equipment to reduce the diesel fumes from the equipment that is out on the airport today, and multiple on-site renewable and other efficiencies across the entire terminal. As we've done at LaGuardia, we're going to bring local New York concessionaires to the terminal, along with inspiring public art. At LaGuardia, the 5 new public art installations have received enormously positive reviews and feedback, and we intend to duplicate that at JFK Terminal 1. We're going to assure there are family-friendly amenities, including a dedicated family security lane, family restrooms, nursing homes, and children's play areas, as well as indoor green space. When you land at JFK, you'll know you've arrived in one of the greatest cities and regions of the world. The new Terminal 1 project will also be a major contributor to the region's economic recovery, with more than 10,000 local total jobs created and more than 6,000 good-paying union construction jobs. There will be a project labor agreement covering every single terminal project at the airport. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the thousands of construction workers who have built our previous projects and who will work and build this project, and thank Gary LaBarbera, the head of the Building Trades Council, who is here with us today and who you'll hear from in a bit, for his enormous support across this project and across other projects. Now, we've tried to make our commitment at the Port Authority to assuring that our construction projects benefit the communities neighboring our major projects. We are completely committed to making this a signature aspect of the Port Authority. We aspire to be a national model and a leader in implementing this commitment. And I believe that JFK is a leading and shining light, an extraordinary example of that commitment. Right from the beginning, we have partnered with elected officials and local community leaders, including, in particular, Congressman Greg Meeks and Borough President Donovan Richard, who are the co-chairs of our advisory council. They have been extraordinarily effective partners and advocates for our initiatives and for setting high ambitions for this effort. And I want to thank them, you'll hear from them, for their advice and support and, how shall I say, their encouragement to set high bars. In fact, as I was discussing with the borough president, before I met him, I actually did not have white hair. At all of our projects, most importantly in terms of today's discussion at Terminal 1, we have embraced the goal of having 30% of the spending at the project involve contracts with minority and women-owned businesses. That is the highest percentage of commitment in the country. At the LaGuardia Airport redevelopment, which itself was an $8 billion project, we just made the announcement that we have passed $2 billion in contracts with minority and women-owned businesses. That's $2 billion with a B. And we're committed to surpassing that at JFK. If I didn't say that, I'd be in big trouble. With more than $2 billion in contract opportunities coming from the Terminal 1 project alone. We will be prioritizing opportunities for local business and job seekers. Our effort is bolstered by a JFK neighborhood outreach office, as well as partnering with local community organizations as part of this outreach. And we have been guided by advice from the Community Advisory Council. Capacity building and job training programs are also at the center of our effort. We have already launched these programs, and we look forward to expanding them as this project moves forward in the very near future. The JFK transformation as a whole. Obviously, we're announcing Terminal 1 today, a $9.5 billion new terminal project. We announced in August, and the board approved in August, a brand new terminal. Our private partners are JFK Millennium Partners, including Vantage Airport Group, American III, that's our minority-owned 30% investor at Terminal 6, and RXR. At Terminal 4, Delta Airlines and JFK IAT are moving forward with a major $1.5 billion expansion and wholesale renovation of Terminal 4. Terminal 8, $400 million plus actually expansion and renovation of that terminal. This is a transformative private investment of more than $15 million across these 4 terminal projects. The result of our efforts is that we have established in these public-private partnerships a multiple of 5 times for every single dollar of scarce Port Authority capital in private investment. And this is another example of our commitment to continue that leverage. Now let's take a look at what the new Terminal 1 will look like. Here's an aerial view of the major new arrivals and departures hall in the center, and you see the 2 concourses that stretch out to the left and right. In front, you see the dramatically expanded arrivals and departure frontages. The JFK AirTrain drop-off and pickup will be inside the new terminal. Here's a view of the terminal just past security in the main passenger area. As you arrive from an international flight, you'll enter a dramatically expanded and light-filled customs and immigration processing hall. Once you've cleared customs, this is the view you will see as you emerge to walk to baggage claim. You're looking at a view of the baggage claim area with extensive natural light, and the iconic New York taxi cab from 30 years ago. It's not a mistake. It's actually an example of the type of public art that will be featured throughout the airport. The entire terminal is inviting to passengers in a way that a transformation of JFK should be. The project timeline: construction will start in mid-2022 once we achieve financial close with our partners, and the opening dates 2026. We're opening nearly two-thirds, just short of two-thirds of the new gates, 14 gates. Phase 2 will open no later than 2028. And Governor, we're working on that final date. So thank you. We're really excited and delighted to have this partnership in place. It took a lot of effort. We had gotten to a complete agreement almost literally 2 years ago. The pandemic made it necessary to restructure, but I'm delighted that we have now achieved a restructured and enormously exciting new terminal agreement. With that, I'd like to introduce and bring to the microphone Gerard Bushell, the CEO of New Terminal One.
Good morning, and thank you. It is great to see each and every one of you here. As Rick highlighted, we were almost there 2 years ago, and the world changed for each and every one of us. So it is with great joy and conviction that we stand here and really look at economic opportunity, social justice, and incredible opportunities for the metropolitan region, New York City, New York State, and in particular, Queens and Southeast Queens. Rick, you did all the heavy lifting just now, so I get the opportunity to be a cheerleader, so thank you. Governor Hochul, thank you for your leadership and commitment to the people of the great state of New York. JLC Infrastructure, Ullico and Carlisle, thank you for your commitment to reopening New York through the development of New Terminal One at JFK. By delivering state-of-the-art terminal, you are taking a bold step forward and revitalizing the front door to this nation. You are starting up an economic engine that will create thousands of well-paying jobs in construction and inside the new terminal. We are especially excited for the opportunities we will create for the residents and businesses of Queens and Southeast Queens in particular. I had the honor, as you noted, of working on projects across New York State with you when I was president and CEO of DASNY. I am honored to collaborate with you again, this time on the largest public-private partnership in the nation and perhaps even across the globe. To Executive Director Rick Cotton, the New Terminal One team is grateful for your hands-on leadership in navigating a challenging 2 years during which international borders were closed and air travel plummeted precipitously. We worked with you, together with the Port Authority's senior leaders and dedicated staff, across every facet of this project through early mornings, late nights, and countless weekends and holidays to make this project happen. I remember last year this time when we were sitting on Zoom calls and going through this. So this is a very joyous opportunity. Thank you to the entire Port Authority team for guiding us through. It was not easy, but success breeds new opportunities and the chance for us to collaborate and execute on this new paradigm for infrastructure projects we committed to delivering. Rick, thank you for getting it done. We look forward to partnering with you and delivering a world-class terminal representing all that is great and indeed very special about New York. I also want to thank the New Terminal One team, for the day in and day out work and the commitment and conviction that they brought every day, recognizing that there was hope, but with hope required execution. Additional thanks go to Congressman Gregory Meeks. Congressman, I will speak about you in a second. Borough President Donovan Richards, thank you for your leadership. And esteemed members of the New York State Assembly, New York State Senate, and New York City Council, the hard work of each of you brought to sustain this project was incredible. Thank you for believing in us, and thank you for helping us get it done. Congressman, Your vision and work to bring together JFK International Airport and the Southeast Queens community is the foundation upon which we are building this project. Taking down the barriers between the airport and the community is essential to building out the new paradigm for infrastructure projects. Your leadership helped make this one of the most impactful infrastructure projects in the nation today. Together, we are embarking on a journey that will become the national benchmark on how to build and rebuild infrastructure with a commitment to innovation, inclusion, jobs, local participation, and strong MWBE goals. 30% and beyond. 30% and beyond. To Gary LaBarbera, President of the Building and Construction Trades, the people you represent are critically important to this project, to our state, and to this region. The New York Building and Construction Trades helped us along when confidence waned in this project. We will work together to put in place a path-breaking project labor agreement committed to strong MWBE participation, local hiring, and workforce training. Gary, we've done it before, we'll do it again. Thank you very much. And through ULICO, the insurance arm of the trades and the investor of your members' pensions, labor is a pivotal player in our consortium and our project. We now look forward to building a world-class terminal with you. Gary, thank you again. To the new Terminal 1 sponsors, JLC Infrastructure, ULICO, and Carlisle, this is indeed an incredible accomplishment. As stewards, and this is important, as stewards of capital for public employees, such as police officers, teachers, firefighters, civilian workers, workers in the trades, and workers across the private sector, your assessment of risk and return is essential. You are not just deploying billions of dollars to finance a world-class terminal, you are also ensuring the future of working men and women in the public and private sectors. Jim Reynolds, CEO of JLC Infrastructure, Ed Smith, President and CEO of ULICO, and Pete Taylor, co-head of the Carlisle Global Infrastructure Opportunity Fund, you had a vision to build world-class infrastructure, create jobs and wealth opportunities, and support inclusion and community engagement. By bringing that vision to fruition, you are signaling the private sector's great confidence in New York and resoundingly demonstrating that we can build a future together. In your quest to build a $2.4 million square foot terminal offering unequaled retail, food and beverage, and the highest customer satisfaction, you have already committed in local development more than $45 million of spend for local MWB businesses. You have also supported more than 50 local organizations and offered 50 scholarships to students to flight school. We at New Terminal 1 are building back differently, more inclusively, and this is only a beginning. So, Governor Hochul, with your leadership, we will set the bar high and challenge the rest of the country to follow. That's the New York way. You know that very well, and I know you would demand and deliver nothing less. Thank you, and congratulations to everyone. And may I introduce my dear friend and colleague, Gary LaBarbera.
Thank you very much, Gerard. Good. Is it afternoon? No, it's still morning. Good morning, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here, and it's certainly a pleasure to be with all of you. You've heard much about the project. I don't want to be too redundant, but I'm really here to just say a few words and offer many thank yous on behalf of the 100,000 members of the New York City Building and Construction Trades Council. First and foremost, Governor, I would like to thank you. And I do want to share just a brief story, and you alluded to it in your comments. Literally, after a few weeks, the governor was gracious enough to take some time out of her very busy schedule to meet with me to go over some priorities for the New York City and New York State building trades. And at that very first meeting that we had, one of the first things that Governor Hochul said to me was, I want to see Terminal 1 built. I want this job built. I want this to go forward. And I intend to do everything in my power to make that happen. And she has kept her word, so I thank you for that and for your leadership and really, really making a huge difference here in this project. Also, and obviously, I want to thank the Port Authority. I want to thank Commissioner Hochul, as well as Executive Director Cotton and all my fellow commissioners that are here as well for their support, and also the Port Authority team for the hard work that they have put into this project. It has been a long negotiations, at times very tedious and tiresome, but they got through it. And of course, finally, I want to thank, well, not finally, but I do want to thank the Investment Consortium. I want to thank my friend and colleague, Gerard Bushell from Carlisle. He has been just a tremendous advocate, tireless advocate for this project all along through its ups and downs. Obviously, Loop Capital as well. And of course, a special recognition to Ulico and Ed Smith and Pat White, that I believe are here. This is a very significant investment, the largest investment. This is union pension fund money. And essentially, union pension funds, union members are part ownership of this project. And this is a definite winning scenario. This is when labor, business, government, community come together. This is the result. Almost a $10 billion project creating over 6,000 union construction jobs and thousands of permanent jobs. And one of the things that I want to say, and I need to acknowledge, Congressman Meeks, as well as Donovan Richard, the borough president, all throughout this process, as you heard, they wanted the community involved, and a priority to them was MWB participation, as well as workforce development. And in this project labor agreement, which is an historic in nature, that's exactly what we've addressed, is significant carve-outs for MWBEs to create and build minority business-owned businesses to develop and get opportunity to grow and hopefully become union contractors and subcontractors as well to expand their opportunities, as well as a very, very aggressive workforce development component. You know, I've always said many, many times that the best anti-poverty program is a career. And that's what we offer in the New York City and the New York State building trades. These aren't just jobs. These are careers. There is significant training. We are what I would consider the most highly skilled tradesmen and women anywhere in the nation, possibly in the world. And I will give you a commitment, two commitments. One is we will work closely through this project labor agreement with all our partners to address upward mobility for underserved communities. Governor, I know you mentioned it. We've discussed this. This is very important to me personally, as well as the leadership of the New York City Building Trades Council. Bring people up out of poverty into not just jobs, but careers, to bring them into the middle class. And two, to continually work and ensure that this will be a best-in-class project. You can go out to LaGuardia Airport, you can look at any iconic buildings in the city of New York, Tower 1, Vanderbilt, I could go on, and just look at the craftsmanship and the work of those buildings. That's the New York City Building Trades, their members who do that. And we give you our word that we will deliver a project. We give you our word that we will deliver a project that will be best in class and that everyone will be proud of. So thank you all again very much for all the hard work and effort that has gone into this. Again, Governor Hochul, thank you so much for your commitment to this project. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who is not only critically important to